I am Kesten Rono, and you're here for day 71 of A Course in Miracles. Let's do a brief meditation together, settling if you can, breathing all your air out. We will take one full breath together, breathing your air out, feeling empty, with ease, breathing in slowly, fully. Hold another breath, another breath. With ease, exhaling, breathing in fully, exhaling with ease. One more big breath in and hold, holding, belly button in, pulling your pelvis up, spine upright. Exhale, easy, breathe normally, eyes closed. You are a miracle. You are the light of the world. You are the Son of God. You, with your eyes closed, breathing with ease, curious about peace. You are in an invulnerable place. Everything you are experiencing is within you, as is your salvation. All of your pain and confusion is within you. The truth is very close. In fact, it is here now. The truth is, you are created in the image of God. God is not a man. God is a mind. In the eternal realm of knowledge, eternal, holy, unchanging, unconditional, all-knowing, all-seeing. Your God is a creator. Your God builds in truth and in love. And all of your ideas will dissolve on the altar of truth. You will persist. You are eternal, made in the image of God. You are part of God's definition as his son. You are of God's light, and he has granted you freedom to dream. You are dreaming right now. Your mind and your capability to dream and your consciousness, what you are behind these closed eyes you imagine, what you are eternally, who you are, blessed in heaven now, always in heaven, not after life. You are alive now. You exist. You exist in your holiness. Your holiness is God's holiness. God is a mind. With infinite freedom, it created another mind. This is you. You are within God at all times, which is why you are perfectly safe, why you are always successful, why you are never alone, why you always have access to all information, why you can trust that you will always be provided for. This is what you are of God. Within God's holiness is your perspective. You are never outside of God, even if you wish to cast your perspective into darkness. This is your gift from God. And it is your will to see life differently than the illusion you are telling yourself. You are equipped with everything you need, fundamentally being within God, of His holiness. And everything you are seeing is your own story, your own mind. You, the mind, imagining. You exist in perfect peace. Fundamentally, this is the space in which you find yourself, formless and limitless. There is nothing outside of you, as you are within God and of God. You are safe. You are able to dream of nightmares if you wish. You may dream of nightmares so real that you believe them, that you believe you are not invulnerable, that you believe you are finite, that you believe you are condemned, that you believe you must fight. In this realm, you may also love and laugh and realize that ease is an idea as well, and you need not participate in dis-ease any longer. You are aware that it has not offered you more meaning, that fighting has never brought you more peace, that fear has never shown you more love, but you are starting to notice that none of these have served you. Fear will attempt to be scarier, so you do not look too closely. Depression will attempt to depress you, so you dare not raise your head. Coercion will attempt to coerce you, so that you believe it is in your best interest to turn away. This is the normal state of your nightmare. And the more that your nightmare haunts you and screams, the more you are becoming aware that it is what is afraid. And you have decided to wear it out of your own curiosity. In your arrogance, stepping away from your Father, believing that you even can, and believing that He is not here with you now, offering you love and forgiveness in all moments. You are waking up. You dare forgive. You dare see this system, which tells you all that you are allowed to be and what you are not, and you decide, let me try on forgiveness. Let me see if what I read is true. Let me see if releasing my upsets offers me peace. Let me see if I grow in motivation and strength by discovering this peace. What happens when I wish my persecutors well, that they may know so much happiness that they forget about persecution, that they see it as an illusion as well? Would I not be creating more peace? You are curious about aligning yourself with abundance and love, knowing your worthiness. recognizing that you need not have control, that everything is simply working, that the truth simply is, and that love, which you believe you are separate from, is unconditional. It is here all the time, around you all the time, as you are enveloped in God's love, in His holiness. You are a consciousness. You are mind. You are part of God. It is time to stop telling yourself a story that you are separate from God, that you are only physical, that you are afraid. God's strength provides you the opportunity to trust, and His love provides you the opportunity to forgive, that you are emboldened and equipped from the invisible at all times, that absolutely nothing that you imagine is outside of you can do anything to you whatsoever. Nothing can take away your power of imagination. Nothing can actually touch what you really are, where you continue to exist beyond death in the physical. Nothing can keep you from being curious about that in the physical. Nothing can deny that you are something behind your eyes, that you are not your job, your name. You will have to take a step for the sake of the step into the unknown through the darkness to evaluate whether or not it is real. It would always have you believe it is not real, but you are sustained by the love of God. Your salvation comes from you. You are a creator. You are not done unto. You are not a victim. You do not seek justice. You offer forgiveness. And with this power, you relax as you realize you never needed it. And instead, you move forward simply for the opportunity to bless yourself and to bless others. That as your own light envelops you and God's love is remembered, and you recognize who you exactly are, you are invited to laugh. You are eternally abundant. You are inherently complete. You are strong enough to try this idea on, and once you discover the truth, you are holy enough to share it. Your salvation comes from you. Aho, breath in. Breath out. Thank you. Number 11. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It is a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It is a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Creator, I'm here speaking. Thank you for offering me perspective for life. Thank you for the opportunity to play in time and space. Thank you for the opportunity to wake up. Thank you for letting me notice that I am at all. May I celebrate. Through prayer, love is received. Creator, thank you for listening. Thank you for showing me love. Thank you for showing me that I am in love and never separate from you. I am eternally grateful to exist in unconditional love. And through miracles, love is expressed. Miracles are an exchange. They are everyone's right. They are natural. They are habits. They occur as expressions of love. There is no order of difficulty. All miracles mean life. Through miracles, love is expressed. Through prayer, love is received. May you offer a prayer of intention, a prayer of gratitude, and receive love. May you understand that there is an infinite well of love, and it may well up within you. Simply pray and receive. And may you move forward with forgiveness, the miracle in time and space, to express love and reverse the physical laws, being blessed and strengthened by giving and receiving. This is your will. This is how rare your idea is relative to any other way that you remember seeing. Imagine you have the power to multiply. You can do this in truth. You cannot do it in illusion. You cannot give away something you do not have. But if you are the infinite, how could you ever give yourself away? You could constantly offer the infinite and still be infinite. There are other ways of seeing material laws, and they invite you into the invisible, where your thoughts can receive love, and your release can express it. Prayer is the medium of miracles. Please enjoy this technology. My salvation comes from me. Lesson 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Please say this one time. Only God's plan for salvation will work. You may not realize that the ego has set up a plan for salvation in opposition to God's. It is this plan in which you believe. Since it is the opposite of God's, you also believe that to accept God's plan in place of the ego's is to be damned. No. Only the idea that you are foregoing for another idea will die. That is irrelevant to you if you are harboring an idea that once it meets truth, no longer exists, that it simply dissolves. You are not the idea. This is the risk of assigning yourself to an ideology. Of course, that would mean that you will be saved by the ideology, the study of that idea, instead of studying yourself. You do not go anywhere as ideas come and go. You are aligned with the truth, of course. This should be our biggest clue. That if we are existing within the ego and we feel that by letting go we are afraid, Of course, we are afraid to be damned, but you cannot be damned in the name of love. Other than I love you, damn it. This sounds preposterous, of course, believing that to accept God's plan in the place of the egos is to be damned. Yet after we have considered just what the ego's plan is, perhaps you will realize that however preposterous it may be, you do believe in it. The ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. This is outsourcing your Savior, just as we are outsourcing most of our well-being, our input, to anyone other than the natural way that you have arrived here, that any human has arrived here. Simply sit with yourself, eat what grows around you, and see what happens to you. You believe that some external circumstance will save you. Thus, the source of salvation is constantly perceived as outside yourself. Each grievance you hold is a declaration in an assertion in which you believe that says, if this were different, I would be saved. Okay. Every grievance you have, which is at the opposite of love itself, your allegiance to your grievances, are declarations. That is you asserting what you believe. You are declaring through your allegiance to your grievance, if this were different, I would be saved. If only this hadn't happened, I would be fine. If this situation that I'm in was fixed, then I would be okay. Even then, if it's arguable that you feel oppressed in a situation and if it was fixed, you'd be okay. You're fixing the external experience, not addressing the internal opportunity. Yeah, perhaps if your room was cleaner or everyone around you was nice and they could just understand everything that you're going through, you would be able to finally relax. I suppose it's not untrue, but it is still assigning an idea that you are the victim of your circumstances, rather than you are the contributor, the inventor, the creator of how you are experiencing what you are experiencing. I understand that it's challenging, but we're here to try this on. It's okay to be uncomfortable. We're practicing. Your salvation comes from you. Your grievances hide the light of the world in you. You cannot be aligned with your grievances and see the light at the same time. The change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself. That's what you believe, of course. Someone else will save me. Anyone else can save me. I just need to win the lotto. Just win the lotto, please. Never mind that almost everyone who wins the lotto spends the lotto. There's fundamentally something that we need to be curious about changing about ourselves and the perspective that we hold for ourselves, of ourselves. Where are we? How could we have the right to be aligned with love and truth and abundance? What needs to change for that to be true? That's the answer. It seems like I have to identify with my spiritual frame of reference, my consciousness, that I can't rely on these tight hips when I try to sit in a butterfly. Whatever it is that I'm doing around here, I'm spinning my wheels until I finally address that I am alive from the perspective of my consciousness. That wherever this is, no matter what has happened to me in the past, I seem to always be okay. That here I am. That even if I have another broken bone, if I'm going to have another surgery, another major change, I can keep cursing those things for interrupting the goals that I've half baked. Or I can say, why are these happening? What is it that is requiring me to be noticed? What is supposed to be noticed by me slowing down so many times? What is this pain trying to get me to pay attention to? Oh, I should have stretched. Okay, yeah, I agree. I should have. I can. But what about the ideas of me am I harboring that this system of however things work could be asking me to just slow the heck down and pay attention? Where you are looking is not the answer. If those things hadn't happened, I would have been so awesome, you know? I never would have had to feel pain. I would be continuing in whatever direction of sport. Obviously, these things are already not true. Who knows what would have happened and when or how? Who knows? Only God's plan for salvation will work. Everything else trying to plan across time and space, thinking that the more that we control, the more that we can be positive, we will get a certain outcome within a certain time. Ask anyone who makes a prediction about prices in any market. The price will be X on Y date is a very challenging thing to say. You could say the price will move in this direction. Or by this date, we might have noticed some of these things, but it's almost always more sure to say, I don't know where it will be, that there are infinite factors affecting a market, especially a free and open one, where every actor is having an input on it, and no one actor has a ledger of every single transaction. Some markets provide you a ledger of every single transaction. But typically, there is some consensus flow of ideas and exchange that is resulting in a perception of what the total flow of value is for everybody. And ultimately, everybody is looking for some kind of value that helps them extend further into time or across space. That is what having a child is, after all. It's the creation of a new consciousness birthed from you to extend itself into the future where you will not be physically, but you will be able to notice it consciously, unless you believe that when you die, you're done, in which case, of course, you're in hell right now. If you're aligning with the grievances of the world, your injuries, your traumas, your hurried state of mind, your lack, you will not be able to see reason in aligning with God. It's better to keep trying what you're doing, the ego will tell you, because if you could just get it right, if you could just be small enough and scared enough, if you can just give up your sovereignty enough, if you can just ask someone to control you more, to come and save you, you might just get out of here. How will you find peace? By fighting. You only find peace in the end of fighting. You can think that it's the fighting that resulted in the end, but it is the end of fighting where peace is. It is the end of sitting with your illusions where the truth is. We are setting aside our grievances because we do not want to grieve. We do not want to spend our time grieving, our life grieving, our existence, our consciousness grieving, because we are looking for more ways to have more meaning. Otherwise, you wouldn't be grieving about anything. You would be pleased to be upset. Would upsetness exist at all then, or would just pleasure exist? That we have grievances at all, that we believe we can be late, that we believe our injuries own us. I certainly allowed myself to feel mentally strained by no longer having the same movement that I had before, even if I wasn't honoring it the best at that time. On both sides, I felt poorly. On both sides, I had to recognize that it was up to me to decide to feel differently given the light of the circumstances. Not that I was going to be able to change all the circumstances and then finally I would be able to announce to myself, I'm happy. But along the way, I was going to need to find happiness too. If I was going to wait until I had no pain to feel happiness, I would never have tried. Something hurts every day, physically or mentally, emotionally, whatever the case is. And thank goodness, because it gives me an opportunity to notice it. It's trying to get my attention. Hi, I'm pain. Something needs to change. It's not okay here. How many times do we ignore that? Ask for a pill or a cream. What's the magic trick to make this pain go away? Here's an answer. Listen to it. Listen to it. It's trying to get your attention. All of these illusions and grievances are trying to get your attention. They're all here for you, not to you. They're all saying, how much more of this do you need to snap out of it? Will you finally realize that you're not here for pain or to grieve or to hate or to cry? This is not your function. You're able to feel all of these things, and those help you to relate to other people and to yourself alone that are trying to find some other form of meaning. But you're not fundamentally here to be in pain and suffer. Who would make you out of love for these reasons? And if you have access to ideas of love and the unconditional and the eternal and the infinite, what if you were curious what it would take for you to know more about those things? You'd have to become them. You have to become closer to them. Do you believe that you would exist infinitely in pain? Infinitely. So you can have any experience, and the only one that you can have would be pain and destruction, disease, and death. Those things sound like they naturally need to be somewhere else, so that we are constantly guarding ourselves from them if we are aligning with the ego, therefore giving faith to our grievances. When we accept how we feel and we step through it, the pain of that idea goes away. It goes away. Where is it? You're no longer the host of it, as you can see it for what it is. Not here. Not a big deal, ultimately. How many things, if you reflect upon your life when you were a kid, seemed like the end of the world? And you probably still allow yourself to be shaped by their outcome, even though that was a long time ago. I'm sure I'm carrying some of those. Thank God, because we can see them. And they give us irrefutable evidence that if we can just notice that, oh my goodness, that was me at 6, 12, 18, who knows? I want to have more love and acceptance for myself at that time, because I wasn't allowing myself to see it for myself then. May I cherish myself. Thank you, old self, for getting me here. And of course, it's just been me, conscious the entire time. When I was 12, I might not have been thinking about it, but what was fundamentally different about my consciousness? Nothing. You could say it was maybe newer, but I cannot understand how, from my perspective of perceiving, that the idea of perception has aged whatsoever. How I might feel internally or what I see in the mirror is possibly changing. But there's a clear difference between what it is that I am and what it is that I'm looking at. If I say I'm old, what's old about me? I feel that I'm timeless. No, you're not timeless, dude. You're going to die one day. You got to eat, yada, yada. I know that. But where are we looking at ourselves from? No, I'm timeless. I'm timeless. Can you prove to me that your experience, your idea of consciousness, what you are, has aged at all? At all. Just take adult times. Pick a few times across the last calendar year, memories where you've been somewhere, been on a vacation, been traumatized, been at work, been anywhere. at those times, do you have any way of describing that you are perceiving any differently at all, that your ability to perceive was hindered in any way? Not how much you perceived, but just that you are perceiving, that you are existing. I'm sure we could find some way of trying to create a category that we can try to propose that, yes, it's been changing over time, but I'm trying to say fundamentally the truth of whatever it is that you are, whatever it is that I am, the fact that I am at all, in here, whatever, looking out, whatever, there is some part of me that is observing what it is that I have been doing. I haven't always been tuned into it, but fundamentally, it seems like it's always been there, and it always is there. And if I'm to expect one thing, is that tomorrow I exist. And tomorrow is an idea that threatens an idea of time that says, hey, you use enough of these tomorrow ideas, and you're out of here. You're done for. Okay. Okay. I suppose you mean what I saw myself as at 6 is done for. What I saw myself as 18 is done for. What I see myself as now will be done for one day. I'll look like my dad. Sure. Okay. Fine. Fine. I accept. But can you convince me that wherever it is the perspective is of my consciousness, not of my body, whatever that is, it has infinite tomorrows. Inside of timelessness, tomorrow is a funny idea. Tomorrow is the same as the past. It's just not now. That when you can find a meditative moment of timelessness, what is it? Where is it? It's not meant to be looked at or put into a container. It is. You're in who knows how long. The grievances don't give you permission to do this. The grievances say you better watch out. You don't have time for that. With which do you want to be aligned? Your own dis-ease or God's ease? The role assigned to your own mind in this plan, then, is simply to determine what, other than itself, must change if you are to be saved. Okay, yes, this is what I'm interested in. I'd like perfect peace and perfect safety. I don't see it around me. Nobody's going to tell me that's logical. So be it. What about me would have to change to be able to recognize an idea of perfect peace and perfect safety? According to this insane plan, any perceived source of salvation is acceptable provided that it will not work. According to this insane plan, the role assigned to your own mind in this plan, I suppose the plan being that we are outsourcing our salvation to some external factor, assigning it to an idol or a person, some kind of event, a quantity of money, who knows? The role assigned to you, to your own mind in this plan, then, is simply to determine what, other than itself, must change if you are to be saved. So what outside of you needs to change if you're going to be saved? According to this insane plan, any perceived source of salvation is acceptable provided that it will not work. You're going to constantly keep looking for things that will not serve you. And when you're not served by them, you'll look at something else to serve you. This is the requirement of the ego's idea of what could save you. Anything that will not work, of course. This ensures that the fruitless search will continue, for the illusion persists that although this hope has always failed, there is still grounds for hope in other places and in other things. The literal definition of insanity, well, figurative, whatever you want to say. doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We're setting ourselves up for a fruitless idea. Search forever. You'll never bring back home food. Just keep looking over there. Sure. Try and look anywhere where you can't find it, thinking that you will find it. We'll just exhaust every corner of everything. Humans are amazing. They'll go where it's cold, hot, high, low, anything. We'll go look everywhere for God. And after we've searched everything, where will it be? Where will we be? What is this spirit thing that we have? I guess I'll have to look inside. Another person will yet serve better. Another situation will yet offer success. This is a fruitless idea. Such is the ego's plan for your salvation. Surely you can see how it is in strict accord with the ego's basic doctrine. Seek, but do not find. This is what the ego wants. Seek, but do not find. You're scared. I'm taking care of you. Yes, you will die if you don't listen. Now I want you to go find around here what you can control and save yourself. You've got to save yourself. But don't worry, I'm here for you. I'll make sure that you're always afraid and therefore always motivated by fear. You will destroy yourself. So you have to go look. See, it's coming true. You're getting destroyed. What are you getting destroyed from? Of course, you're not looking in the right place. The ego is sending you out to make sure that you're scared of everything, so that you go seek answers through those things. So you scream for justice about those things. If I could just fix that, I'll be fine. Of course, in time and space, it's fun to play. But the ego is using fear because it is afraid. And what's it afraid of? That you will find what you're looking for. So if it can keep you depressed and on an agenda to go find it somewhere else, then you'll never find it right underneath your nose, right behind your own eyes, right inside your own heart. Because every time you get close to it, you're taught, no, that's not it. I need destruction to feel comfortable. I need some more trauma and pain, please. Nothing worth having can come easy. That's true. In time and space, it takes effort to move across this space over time. That's the beauty of action. It gives things meaning here when they're tied to this natural flow. When they are of something real or connected to something real, tangible, if we are looking at it from a physical space. When people are transparent, why? Because we risk with every technology the dematerialization of everything. That the marginal cost of goods is always going to go to zero. Always. Every technology is taking you there. Everything that we're creating will eventually be evaporating into smaller and smaller, easier and easier, more energy dense things. So everything that you know will disappear. You'll keep creating, and what you knew before will be gone. You go through enough time on its own, and the world will eat the things that you were identifying with. You will die. There's absolutely nothing to hold on to if you go out into the infinite with these things. Everything starts to fade away that you knew, and new things will be created. That's the cycle of things turning over. The clue is everywhere, that if we assign ourselves to one moment in time or one idea on that cycle, we're bound to go crazy. Because whether we like it or not, we are dematerializing too. If you die in the middle of a field, and you're buried there in the middle of the field, and a tree or a plant pops up near you, are you that plant? What about the next plant that grows, or the next one that's right nearby? No, you are part of all things, even if it's hard to imagine. Well, it's not hard. It's just new. You do not need to align with the ego and its grievances and its idea of seek but do not find. I am offering you an opportunity to stop seeking and to simply know what is required. All that is required is your imagination, that you are already imagining everything around you. And you have the power, at least, to realize that you can imagine what it's like to be safe and full and in love. Let's set aside seek but do not find. For what could more surely guarantee that you will not find salvation than to channelize all of your efforts in searching for it where it is not? It's just not where you're looking. You cannot look at the effects of everything around you and not the cause and expect to make a change. You are playing with illusions. And the ego and anyone else who would be aligned with it, who would depress you or coerce you or lie to you or refuse to be transparent or tell you that everything is true, just this piece that I'm leaving out, that you can clearly see I'm leaving out, it's not important. Do not accept these psyop ideas anymore. Least of all from yourself. Least of all from a no one, an ego. The ego is here with you for you to notice, desperately afraid that you will notice the rest of you, your light, and the opportunity for that array of feelings, that they all exist. But all of your light feelings are okay with the ego feelings because they see them as meaningless. And all of your egoic feelings are scared to hell where it lives, scared to hell that you are going to notice the light because it will be revealed. All the lies will become evident. The truth is out. The ego is not accepting of love, but unconditional love is accepting of the ego. Where is the peace then? It should be obvious. Let's stop looking where the ego tells us to. Let's be curious about looking where love would suggest we do, and how do we find it? Through purification via forgiveness. To do the illogical thing within the realm of the ego. Don't do that. You can never do that. If you do that, you're settling and accepting. No, thank you. I'm as tempting to know peace. This idea that I've been harboring, I'm willing to let it go. May it be purified in the waters. May anyone associated with it feel its release. May everyone who has been contributing to this idea that I've been holding on to, even though I feel I have been wronged, I'm going to step into a new perspective that says, it's okay. And I would see you even as my friend, that you and I are both on a direction towards being curious and brave enough to notice abundance, truth, and love. That is where I am headed, and that is why I am setting this aside. That is what the ego is afraid of. That is seeing without seeking. God's plan for salvation works simply because by following his direction, you seek for salvation where it is. But if you are to succeed as God promises you will, you must be willing to seek there only. That you either see or you do not. That you must be looking where God is simply directing you. I have a guess that it's within you, with what you are divinely entitled to, equipped with, and have been choosing to abandon. Where is it? With patience and humility and forgiveness, it is simply right here that what you want is yours. What loving father would ever actually leave you to go be destroyed? He's right here with you all the time. And if you're curious and need to step into that light, you may picture me and take my hand, and it will be. No. What did it say? The clouds cannot stop you. Since all illusions of salvation have failed you, surely you do not want to remain in the clouds looking vainly for idols there, when you could so easily walk on into the light of real salvation. That is where you will find what you are looking for. That is God's plan for your salvation, to walk into the light. Try to pass the clouds by whatever means appeals to you. If it helps you, think of me holding your hand and leading you, and I assure you, this will be no idle fantasy. Please, call on me. You must be willing to seek where God promises you salvation is, and only there. Otherwise, your purpose is divided, and you will attempt to follow two plans for salvation that are diametrically opposed in all ways. The result can bring only confusion, misery, and a deep sense of failure and despair. Devotion, acceptance, setting aside the way that we have been seeing every time that we can notice it with forgiveness, and choosing to look for and within our own light for our own salvation. Any amount of spending time outside of ourselves will constantly be looking for some idea of peace that cannot grant it. How can you escape all this? Very simply, the idea for today is the answer. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Only God's plan for salvation will work. There can be no real conflict about this because there is no possible alternative to God's plan that will save you. His is the only plan that is certain in its outcome. His is the only plan that must succeed. If you think that something else other than alignment with God will save you, you are admitting to yourself that you know better than God. What would fundamentally stop you from pursuing whatever goal you have after you have noticed your connection to God? It is wildly arrogant and a deep admission of your alignment with your ego, which means you are binding yourself to the illusions outside of God by choice, for you to imagine that you could organize things better than someone who has infinite knowledge about the same arena that you are imagining is more important than noticing your own light. His is the only plan that must succeed. His is the only plan that is certain in its outcome. Let us practice recognizing this today, and let us rejoice that there is an answer to what seems to be a conflict with no resolution possible. This is a celebration. Do you want peace? Guess what? You can have it. Stop looking where you've been looking. All things are possible to God. Salvation must be yours because of His plan, which cannot fail. Begin the 2 longer practice periods today by thinking about today's idea and realizing that it contains 2 parts, each making equal contribution to the whole. God's plan for your salvation will work, and other plans will not. Do not allow yourself to become depressed or angry at the second part. It is inherent in the first. God's plan for your salvation will work, and other plans will not. Remember, true vision requires no sacrifice. It may only bless. But as we move closer to the truth and we continue to exist, letting ideas pass through our mind, when those ideas meet the truth, just the truth remains. You still exist. You still get to experience both sides, and now you get to make a decision about how you want to be living. You fundamentally are constantly aware of the truth. You fundamentally continue to exist. There is nothing you are sacrificing when you say, God's plan for your salvation will work, and other plans will not. Do not allow yourself to become depressed or angry at the second part. It is inherent in the first. And in the first, which is God's plan for your salvation, will work. And in the first is your full release from all your own insane attempts and mad proposals to free yourself. There's a big irony here. Your salvation is in you. If you're assigning it to someone else to come save you, then you are saying, I am helpless. Someone, please come support me. Perhaps we've all tried this idea on. Someone else come save me. Whatever it is that you're offering me as salvation, I'll accept if it appears that it's going to keep me alive for some amount of time, that I can set aside my upsets. I hope, because this environment is relatively calm, but it is not infinitely calm, that your salvation is within you. And yet, once you look within you, you can actually release your requirement to save yourself once you can find yourself, that your salvation is noticing your light and your connection to God, and then you can simply hand it over to God. Of course, it is you waking up to your will, to saving yourself, to noticing your light by refusing, not by fighting, but the ego has taught you everything about attack thoughts. And the irony, of course, you're going to attack the ego by using a non-attack thought, by forgiving. That forgiving, you find more of yourself in the meaninglessness of noticing that everything around you isn't here right now. What is here right now? You eventually arrive on some conclusion that it's you observing whatever's going on here. Your mind. Okay, so be it. So be it. Good girl. Good girl, man. Good girl. And so if you were so worried that you were going to sacrifice and be left alone by pursuing something that everyone else who's upset and sick would tell you is wrong, if you were scared about providing for yourself, that within consciousness it is just you, and you must wake up to the idea that it's just you in here, which means you're damning yourself or you're saving yourself. If that scares you, once you get there, you get to turn yourself over to God and His plan. You are successful because you are aligned with someone who can see all things. There's no unknown to be scared of anymore. There's no such thing as fear in the realm of knowledge. You are afraid because you do not know what's going to happen, and because whatever has happened in the past could therefore be in the unknown. So best to prepare for it. Best not to be reckless. Yeah, I would agree. Look both ways before you cross the street. We can make this infinitely complex if we want to make examples about stuff outside of us. But let's not ignore what is inside of us. If you are scared fundamentally because you do not know what's going on, you do not know what's going to happen, announcing that you do not know what's going on is a great step. Recognizing however it is that you have been trying to wrangle what's going on, and realizing that even though you were doing that to whatever degree you felt that you were doing it, you can either accept a mountain of shame that you haven't been doing it well enough, or you can say, I have been trying my hardest, and still I can't guarantee what's going to happen. That the unknown continues to exist. It is totally illogical and insane then to continually try to prep as if you have any idea what the next outcome will be when there are surprises and miracles in the world. Perhaps it is the most sane thing you can do then, the most logical thing you can do then, to unite your mind with God's and be curious about trying on ideas that are antithetical to the ego. Wait a second. What if I tried on the infinite? Where am I that I could be perfectly safe? How can I guarantee that I am successful? Well, clearly the answer is if you knew what was going to happen, you could be successful, at least within that time frame. What if you had all the knowledge? What if you were connected to all that is? What if you were absolutely sure that you could see this light and truth in everything around you? What, I was going to say on earth, but I suppose even then on earth, what would you be scared of? Even your physical death would be something that you can laugh with because you've been playing the whole time. And now, after seeing yourself, you are imbued with true purpose. And now you may move effortlessly with love. This is why you will always be successful, because you are on God's team. Imagine playing a sport and having God on your team. Why would you ever need to lose a game? And if you did, you would go to God and say, God, why was it important that we lose that game? You have God on your team, fundamentally connected to God. I am proposing that you are an imagination, that it has no form, that you are an idea inside of God's mind that creates all that is part of Him, moving to the one. That's how vital you are. That's how connected you are. That's how safe, of course, you are, because God, in His ultimate ability to create, is creating perfect peace and perfect safety. He's not creating hell for Himself. No more than you want hell in your physical life. It's not somewhere far away. Hell is right here, right now. Heaven is not somewhere far away. It is here, right now. It is your matter of seeing it and your willingness to save yourself. And the more that you save yourself and notice your light, you recognize that you have been here with God, and that, of course, He has presented the stage for you to notice and have the tools to remember. You're doing it all through God. You're never alone. There's nothing to fear. Salvation must be yours because of His plan, which cannot fail. God's plan for your salvation will work, and other plans will not. Do not become depressed or angry. And in this first idea that God's plan for your salvation will work is your full release from all your own insane attempts and mad proposals to free yourself. They have led to depression and anger, but God's plan will succeed. It will lead to release and joy. Is this book fundamentally asking you to pay something, to give something up? I mean, yes, it's asking you to give something up ultimately, the way that you have been seeing out of alignment with truth. It's asking you to give up your grievances. But where is the sacrifice really in here that you would not want to offer? Or do you believe that because of the trauma you have experienced that now you have an identity? Do you really want your identity associated with your trauma, even if you are relieved from it, that you survived it? What would be better than surviving it? Letting it go. Letting it go. Giving it zero power over you. It's not going to repeat itself. We're constantly guarding ourselves from something that has happened in the past. We just desperately don't want that again. But what does that mean for whatever our energy is? I am energy of I don't want that. You don't want what? This thing? Let me show it to you. Okay, just making sure you still don't want that. Yeah, I don't want it. Okay, why do you keep telling me about it then? What if you use your imagination to tell me what you do want? Where you want to be emanating from? what you want to see reflected around you. It will lead to release and joy. It's okay to keep moving in this step. You're not giving anything up. You are you, your family, yourself, your job, your endeavors, your writings, your voice, the way you move. All of them will be grateful for you knowing love. So let's continue. Remembering this, let us devote the remainder of the extended practice period to asking God to reveal his plan to us. Ask him very specifically, what would you have me do? God, thank you for listening and being here with me. What would you have me do? I'm confused. I'm here in the physical. I get it. I'm also spiritual. I don't get it. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? Where would you have me go? I'll tell you this. I'm currently where I am because of an intuitive voice that told me to be here. And prior to being here, I'd never been here before. Send it. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to whom? I promise you, when I came here, I did not think I'd be uploading myself to any centralized server on purpose, reading to you from this textbook, talking to you about God. But here I am on the other side of intuition. Even hearing the words. God, thank you for being here. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom? What would you have me do, God? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom? I am listening. I will set aside my fears when I notice you. I am interested in noticing myself so I may know more about me, about you, about love, and about how to share it, how to innately know it, how to ensure that I am offering something that I have, how to reverse physical laws, how to introduce abundance, peace, and safety. Give him full charge of the rest of your practice periods and let him tell you what he needs to be done by you in his plan for your salvation. Sweet. I thought it was up to me, but now I can ask God and he'll just give me a to-do list? I mean, maybe it's not so simple, but sure sounds easier than I ever expected. He will answer in proportion to your willingness to hear his voice. Refuse not to hear. The very fact that you are doing the exercises proves that you have some willingness to listen. This is enough to establish your claim to God's answer. Refuse not to hear. Refuse not to hear, excuse me. He will answer in proportion to your willingness to hear his voice. And if you were worried about it, just that you are here listening to this, trying these exercises on, opening your mind to this idea, admitting to yourself that your head is not welded shut, that the truth is always welcome, that you are never at risk just because your life and how you are seeing may have to change in accordance with the truth, should you so choose. The very fact that you are here is enough to establish your claim to God's answer. We are asking questions and just being curious about what is revealed in response. This whole salvation thing is maybe easier than we expected. Maybe everything that we're doing is easier than we ever expected. In the shorter practice periods, tell yourself often that God's plan for salvation and only His will work. Be alert to all temptation to hold grievances today and respond to them with this form of today's idea. Holding grievances is the opposite of God's plan for salvation, and only His plan will work. All right, you're upset, you reflected, something happened. What will you say? Holding grievances is the opposite for God's plan for salvation. Someone cuts you off on the road and you say, holding grievances is the opposite of God's plan for salvation. Damn it. Thank you for making me notice this. Oh no, I noticed it. You didn't make me do anything. Now I'm in this car talking about how my grievance is related to the opposite of my opportunity for salvation with God. Yes, it's that crazy sounding. But as we are noticing it, that we have been casting this spelling externally at all times, giving ourselves constant permission, reinforcement, our own propaganda to change our mind, being our own mentalist, predicting what we will say and how we will respond by automatically having a framing for what is happening around us for the few times we are allowed to feel happy and peaceful, and for the rest of the times that we need to offload some idea to someone that we know or we just met or someone we don't care about. We're going to tell them off. We have someone else around us that we need to tell about all of our grievances. That if we're telling them, it'll be fixed. That if they can tell somebody else, they'll come take care of us. I suppose that there are plenty of serendipitous noticings about how we are being taken care of at all times. But fundamentally, we are going to allow ourselves to think about life differently. That's right, you are thinking about salvation when you're driving your car. And when you have a grievance, you will connect it. You will notice that you harboring that attack thought puts you in direct opposition with ideas of peace and love, of patience, of knowingness, of invulnerability, of freedom from worry, of abundance, and your ability to share those things. Because you see that now, you will see your grievances in opposition to your salvation. You will accept an idea that you have a will. Even if you don't know what it is, you can ask God, what will you have me do? Where will you have me go? What will you have me say, and to whom? You have a will. What is your will? To know the truth, to save yourself, to wake up to an idea of light in you, lest you continue building with all the things around you that keep creating grievances. Which one do you want? I'm learning to announce for myself that I want to set the other one aside. I'm learning to realize within myself that I need to have a will, a willingness to hear God's voice. Of course, the response will be proportional to our willingness to hear it. Holding grievances is the opposite of God's plan for salvation, and only His plan will work. Thank you for cutting me off on the road. Try to remember today's idea some 6 or 7 times an hour, every 10 minutes. And even then, one more. There could be no better way to spend half a minute or less than to remember the source of your salvation and to see it, capital I, where it, capital I, is. There could be no better way to spend half a minute or less than to remember the source of your salvation and to see it where it is. There you have it. Only God's plan for salvation will work. No other plan that I can invent will work. No other plan that somebody else will tell me will work. No one saying, I am the one who can save you. Vote for me. I'll print the most, and I'll sell you back a service that can't compete in the open market. That'll save you. I run on no more war. Here's why we need to go to war. Let's not fall for the illusion any longer. Your salvation and whatever it is that you are saving is far beyond even the ideas that someone is pitching you that they will save. And there is no intermediary between you and God. You fundamentally have everything that you are entitled to. You are divinely connected to ideas of love and truth. And it's okay. Whatever path that you are on to seeing it, whatever path that I am on to seeing it, at whatever timing we are on this path, so be it. We're here now. And forever, we are not going to feel an upset and let it rule us. In that upset, we will notice in our reflection or what someone else is offering us, even if that makes us more upset, or if we get more afraid. Eventually, we're going to say to ourselves, aha, you almost had me. Like you used to get me all the time. I was mindless. But now I'm curious about mindlessness because I've been mindless about all these things and I want to let that idea go. What is mindlessness? I'd like to feel that. I'd like to notice that all these ideas are nothing. They're nothing. They are no thing. And I am. Only God's plan for salvation will work. There can be no better way to spend half a minute or less than to remember the source of your salvation and to see it where it is. Only God's plan for salvation will work. There is no other way. Every way that I have been looking has not resulted me in noticing the absolute abundance and truth in all things. So maybe, even though I don't understand this realm, I don't understand how to do it, I don't know what it is, but maybe aligning with God will offer me something greater than all the places that I have been looking. And whatever you're looking for is always the last place you look. So let's go turn to God and just be curious and put everything else on hold, all the money, all the other things that we were thinking about. Let's just put them on hold and let's be curious that if we go look for ourselves with God, if we find what we're looking for. If you do, and you do it wholly, so that you can be curious about holiness, that you wholly commit to seeing life through your holiness. If you finish this whole book and you don't have an inkling at all that you were closer to something greater than you've ever imagined, then I guess pick up where you left off and see if those illusions help you too. We are here to experience. We're here to learn across time. And how you are doing it is totally up to you. But where you arrive, I feel I can promise you, will be at the truth. Fundamentally, you will always arrive at the truth. And I know you are willing to accept it. I am Kesten Rono, and I am sustained by the love of God. May I forgive and know peace. May I forgive and know salvation. May I forgive with gratitude. See you tomorrow for day 72.